Welcome back to this month's Roundtable, your all-in-one comprehensive view of what's happening across the real estate industry, straight from some of the industry's earliest technology adopters and foremost experts in technology, marketing, brokerage, government policy, capital construction, and cybersecurity. As always, this is a three-part show. Part one, introductions and what's new for each Roundtable host in their business sector. Part two, sector focus. We unpack the month's biggest news and paradigm shifts. In part three, what does that all mean for your real estate business and what can you do to outpace your competition? I'm Andreas Senie, founder, CRECo.ai Collaborative, brokerage owner, and commercial director at KW. Joining me this month is none other than Dan Wagner, Senior Vice President, Government Policy, Government Relations at Inland Real Estate Group of Companies. Dan, welcome back. So nice to have you with us.
I love Andreas.
That's all you got to say. That's what brings the audience in. I'm telling you.
Yes.
Also joining us this month, Rebecca Carlson, founder, CEO, Carlson Integrated. Becca, always nice to have you back as well.
Great to be here.
Yeah, well, and what a great time to be here. There's so much going on in the industry. We've got transactions up year over year by 3.8% in commercial real estate. Inland just had a massive acquisition, government shutdown, so much going on, not to mention conference season, our favorite and greatest. So Dan, given the biggest news is shutdowns and that acquisition, tell us more about what's happening on your side of the fence.
Well, just so everybody knows, I did learn something before the show. Andreas's rock star in his life is his grandma. So he got his learning about real estate through her. I guess she learned how to get a pilot's license because there was no Google Earth, right?
So this is Sue Senie here. So generations of real estate development zoning attorneys. And when Sue got her license, she's one of the first female commercial brokers in the Northeast. There was no Google Earth, so she went and got a pilot's license to figure out how to put parcels together, which then meant my grandfather had to get a pilot's license, but he got it in case she couldn't fly, not for the real estate part of it. So yeah, Sue Senie, my hero, brought me through life and taught me everything I needed to get started in this business, honestly. Thank you for bringing that back up.
Absolutely. God bless your grandma. And the other thing that before the show started, I just got to give more kudos to Andreas. He said that we had 5,600 people that are tuning in, right?
Tune in and downloads. So 5,642 tune-ins and downloads last month. 53% of our audience is audio, 25% here on the internet, live video, and so on. We are a global show. 75% of our audience here in the U.S. The rest, majority Europe. So thank you to our audience with whom this show would not be possible. Thank you to my fabulous co-hosts for all they do. Special thank you to Dan Wagner's 15-foot chicken that's coming soon to his holiday display.
Turkey.
Oh, excuse me. I was trying to save the turkey. So it is a turkey.
Yeah. So my house is decorated. I have a 15-foot pumpkin in my yard right now. So, but
those tuning in first time, Dan Wagner, and there's no nepotism here of any kind, has won our show holiday picture every year since he is the. With all respect, the Griswold of his neighborhood. Yeah. And I'm glad he's not my neighbor because I get very competitive.
Well, all the lights dim in the neighborhood when I turn on my light. So it's one of those things.
So speaking of lights and your neighborhood, Inland, what's going on at Inland?
Yeah, so we're real excited. We're always buying real estate. We just recently closed on a very nice student housing portfolio. Apartments, student housing in University of Virginia, Purdue University, and Baylor University. So very excited always about purchasing good products, and good products come to you when you are able to be in business for 58 years. And we are excited about the opportunities we're able to provide our investors. So all good stuff. We are excited about the Devon portfolio that we purchased of self-storage, and our self-storage world is growing. We're looking at trying to build more self-storage, and what we do is we take old Kmart's, old dark big boxes, and we convert them into a really high-end product where you're able to drive in, have air conditioning, heating. I mean, just a really good, wonderful product all around. And then we also are purchasing medical office and senior assisted living, and we always love apartments. But those are some of the areas that we're involved and dedicated in. And we do have other outside activities where we are doing third-party commercial real estate management. We do property tax field reductions. So we're involved in lots of different things. And of course, we have a mezzanine financing loan program at Inland Capital. So we are not bored here. We're always active.
So the shorter list is, what does Inland not get involved in?
I'm telling you, it's pretty exciting. If you guys, a year or so ago, we had a beautiful tribute to Dan Goodwin, who passed away, our founder, and then Joe Cosenza, another one of our founders who passed away. And I got to tell you, Tony Chorizo and our staff are really coming together, and things are going really, really great at Inland. And we are, we still have my position, which is a good thing, to be kind of the canary in the coal mine in what's happening in Washington. And clearly, a lot of stuff is going on in the whole world of Washington, D.C., not to mention the shutdown. So at this moment, we have the government shutdown in Washington, which makes people a little unnerved, and it kind of slows down the deal flow, and people are more cautious about underwriting, and it gives people pause at different times. So that's
so we've got the 25 basis point reduction, right, in rates. Becca brought this
which
up,
is good.
Joe. We've got an increase in overall deal flow year over year, 3.8% aggregated, right?
Yep.
And even the median price per square foot aggregated 13.9% year over year increase. So there's, as you guys said earlier, some momentum building. And the government shutdown is a huge concern, but how likely is it to impact us? Are you guys hitting the brakes? And Becca, and Saul's joining as well. Becca, what are you seeing?
So I am seeing a lot of activity. I have clients in most sectors, and I have clients in the hospitality, hotels and hospitality, and restaurants that are remaining active. I think the slowdown this week with the government shutdown is temporary, and investment achievements are still happening. So I have clients who are acquiring in retail. I've got clients who are acquiring in medical office, portfolio acquisitions, single acquisitions. So I'm seeing a lot of momentum, and the drop in interest rates just makes everybody even more excited about it. I was at C5, which is the C5 and CCIM, the NAR conference, where I actually got to see Tony speak, who is so from Inland, and talk a little bit. I think it was one of his first public appearances. It was really wonderful to be able to see him and hear his vision for Inland and all of the great things that they do. But also attending capital markets panels, retail, different product sector, alternate financing, programming, and there's a lot of momentum and there's a lot of excitement in the industry, and it happened to coincide with the drop in interest rates like the same day.
It was the same day. It was like 10 minutes before that presentation, Becca. Yeah, it was good.
Well, and God forbid it went the other way, but I'm assuming the speech was ready to go either way. Moving and continuing. Saul joining us just after the holiday here. Saul, welcome. Thank you for tuning in and coming by. We're just getting up to speed on C5. Dan was talking through all the great things at Inland. Inland continues to be a behemoth and a bellwether on why industrial assets, multifamily, mixed use. You guys are killing it. Public storage specifically. And Saul, I believe you're back from another Europe trip, another conference as well. Got C5 just happened with Dan. ICSC Midwest coming Thursday. Saul, jump in and tell us where you've been.
Yeah, I just got back from Toronto, and I was up there for a week. I attended two conferences. The first one was CMLS, which is the Council of Multiple Listing Services. And the second one was the International MLS Forum. Both were great conferences. I enjoy all the conferences that I go to, as few as possible these days. But these are particularly interesting because they're about multiple listing services. And so you get a little bit smaller audience, maybe in the neighborhood of well, actually, at CMLS was the biggest one they ever had. It was 1,000 people. That's small for a real estate conference. And 300 at the International MLS Forum. That's the biggest one that they've had. but that's kind of still a small group when you think about it, when you're spending, 5 days with people who went back-to-back conferences. So they were great conferences. It was just wonderful to get up to Toronto, and the weather was great, and it was even better to get home.
Well, yeah, no, it's I tell those that visit me, it's a gift when you come and two when you leave. As much as I love seeing everyone, conferences are exhausting. But it sounds like, based on everybody's comments, the market, regardless of the government shutdown, there's optimism, there's energy. The MLS is moving, and for those on the call who don't know what the MLS is, the MLS allows the residential real estate world to work autonomously almost. It makes it easy, unlike the commercial side, all the 29 different portals. So, CRETech coming up October 21st, ICSC Midwest coming Thursday, excuse me. Saul is now back with us.
Well, I want to highlight the what you're talking about is something super important. When you breathe, you take air for granted, and a lot of times people take our associations for granted. And I just this afternoon I went to the Main Street Realtor Association, which is like the 9th largest association in the country here. It's in the suburbs of Chicago, and it was packed. It was realtors walking, just arm in arm, and people are enjoying themselves. But what's nice is that people are coming together and they're enjoying the camaraderie with their fellow realtors. And we're seeing people who are the staff, the government affairs guys and gals, just everybody. And they're RPAC, which is obviously I'm more of my RPAC pen and my commercial red R. We have a separate booth because you get to go and have free drinks and free food because you're an RPAC member. But all these things means you're coming together, you're networking, you're engaging one another, and that's something that we shouldn't take for granted. And these conferences we go to, C5 was put on by NAR, and Becca, you loved going to C5. I mean, as you're out there, out on your own doing stuff, it's nice to be able to come and talk to colleagues and share this information. I know, Saul, we talk about that all the time, but isn't it just so important to be able to bring everybody together?
Yeah, it's nothing like meeting face to face, right? Yeah. So, Zoom's great, but when you can get together with people face to face, meet people face to face, real estate is this personal kind of thing. And so the conferences I was at was, there's a lot of change going on in the industry. One of the things that a lot of times we don't recognize, and you made this point, Andreas, is that MLS really is a miracle. The concept and the idea that real estate's almost a liquid asset, that you can put it on the market and within 45 days you can turn it into cash. That's pretty amazing. And that's it happens because people work together, and because we have rules, and because we have people who are willing to step up. And so the CMLS conference, that's about how MLSs work. And the follow-on, the international conference, the interesting thing is, while we're trying to destroy MLS here in this country through litigation and through the government, the other side of the coin is the rest of the world wants MLS.
Right.
They're excited about this idea of MLS. Now, MLS in the rest of the world isn't necessarily going to look like what MLS looks like here, but it is something that people are really interested in for a number of reasons. And one of the things that we did at the International MLS Forum, and this was the 3rd year of that forum, first year was in Paris, second year was in Milan, this year was in Toronto, and next year will be in Abu Dhabi, is that we created something called GDX, Global Data Exchange. And this is the first ever idea of a global data exchange. And so 5 players got together and created the Global Data Exchange. And those 5 players are the Toronto MLS, Stellar MLS in Florida, the San Diego MLS, which is my MLS, France, and Dubai.
Wow.
So that's really something. We're all coming together to figure out ways that and the foundation of all of this is data standards. And of course, the foundation of data standards is RESO. And of course, RESO is supported by the National Association of Realtors.
Right.
Which ties it back to you are who you're with.
Yeah. So the idea of bringing this all together. And so for me, there's a 100,000 foot view of this. And that is, I truly believe in the preamble to the Code of Ethics of the National Association of Realtors, and that is under all is the land.
Amen.
And we all benefit from the widest distribution of real estate ownership, because if people own real estate, they have a stake in the system. And if I own real estate in Italy, I got a stake in Italy's system.
Right.
And if someone from Italy has real estate in the United States, they have a stake in our system, and you can build generational wealth. So all of these benefits around the widest distribution. And what will give us more confidence in buying real estate worldwide? It's transparency. And what gives us the ability to be transparent and to share data? Standards.
Yeah.
Which takes us to CRECo, which takes us to the National Association of Realtors as an entity that supports and always has data standards.
Exactly right. And again, for those that don't know the clear separation, residential, saw the upbuild what is now Realtor.com, this original network, this standard, where all of these brokerage houses can put together their data and push it out to each other and the industry and the buyers and the sellers. Meanwhile, commercial lagging behind, rightfully so. We've got 29 sovereign platforms that don't talk to each other. There's all these places to look. There's burnout. So to your point, it is a mirror. What residential has and what happened in that world, it's incredible, truly. And the rest of the world wants it. They don't have it yet. I'm excited to see the growth there too. Speaking of growth there too, markets, transparency, and marketing. Back up with all these conferences going on with the data standards, with all these changes. What's the latest going on in the marketing?
So my favorite thing about the marketing that I get to do is that it's all so centered around commercial real estate. And when we're working with owners and investors, we're working with brokers, we're working with service providers within the industry, the recommendations that we're able to provide and look at regarding that, the data pieces and the technology stack that each of them has is pretty incredible. And we're doing some extra consulting in this arena right now, simply because there's such a proliferation of technology, and we don't mind. We have no stake in any technology itself, but ensuring that our clients have an idea of what that technology stack can look like, because it's differentiated by each of them, and ensuring that the efficacy of that technology stack, that the pieces are talking to each other, that they have adoption internally, they know how to use it, that they're leveraging their knowledge and being able to push out all of the unique and proprietary information they have while protecting that information to ensure that they're being great fiduciaries of the numbers, and the knowledge that they have continues to be an increasing priority for us. And we take it really seriously. And I know that you guys do too, of ensuring that the technology is not just utilized, but it's utilized in safe manners, like in a safe manner, that AI is utilized in such a way that it's not so that because what you're getting out of AI is that least common denominator factor. You want to ensure that what your proprietary knowledge is on top of that is what you're really bringing to the table, and that you're not downplaying your own knowledge by using AGI to do work for you that just because it can, it should not necessarily should. And we've talked about this before, but it continues to be a really important aspect of what we're doing as it relates now to broader than just like, are you using ChatGPT or an AGI technology, but more along the lines of that entire technology stack. And it's hilarious to me. I don't even know if everybody calls it a technology stack, but because I've been exposed to capital stacks my entire career, that's the only correlative graph I can formulate. Is I just draw like a capital stack, obviously, but that's the real estate in me coming out in marketing.
Well, but it applies, it resonates, right? So the capital stack, right? All the ways we could put capital together to get our deals done. Now there's a technology stack at this stage in the industry. AI's got awards for it, so I helped build some of it, right? We have a platform that connects all of it, CRECo.ai. It has to be there, and it's there to stay. I have it. And on the AI side, your technology stack needs to provide to you actionable insights, right? Not just data over. That's always been the problem. And AI allows more data to come at you and to glean insights if used correctly. At the same time, it's a day one intro. I've said it before, I'll say it again. You cannot trust it to do the work for you. It will or could do it wrong and make you look very bad. I've got a few questions from the audience. So Tom Orofino, thank you for tuning in this month. To Dan, how is the triple net business doing at Inland specifically?
So, we're that's an interesting question. We're the alternative investment kind of company, and so we're in Chicago. A great triple net lease that existed at one time were the Walgreens, and now Walgreens is having a very difficult time where their valuation is just totally hit the basement, and so those triple nets aren't the same as they used to be, right, Becca? So your experience, Becca, with triple nets is, I mean, it's people are, I think, trying to be more creative in putting their money into other places than just the usual old, tried and true. People still want to try to have that, but from Inland standpoint, we're very engaged in self-storage, all these other great places, but we're trying to look at, you need to diversify more and not just get into triple net.
I was just going to say my clients look at it as part of a diversified portfolio. So they may have an allocation towards triple nets, but they're also going to have an allocation towards multi-tenant, and they may have, and an allocation towards even other product types on occasion.
Don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah.
With all things, triple net's not just retail, right? You have retail triple net, office triple net. I don't know who's buying those. Just kidding. Industrial triple net and so on, right? And even the institutions have gone out and bought up swaths of residential rental properties.
Yep.
Well, not quote commercial, but acting, walking, talking like a commercial investment portfolio.
Why don't one of you define triple net? Because I would bet there are a lot of people listening in that don't know what we mean when we say triple net.
So, I'm going to give it to Becca because she's in marketing. Or I can answer triple net. When I teach real estate, I talk about commercial leasing and triple net. The ends are not including, not including, not including. There's 3 ends on a lease. That means it's not including your insurance, your management, taxes, right? Those are passed through. When you're an investor buying triple net assets, you're buying coupons. Becca, if you want to expand on that or correct me by all means, and then we'll give it over to the institutional guy himself, Dan.
Andreas, that was a terrible lay description. That was not very helpful for people who don't know what triple net is.
There you go. Passive, predictable income from quality tenants. Is that better?
The tenant pays for everything themselves, and they have responsibility for paying for everything. So all you're getting is rent. You're not having to actually manage or actively operate the asset. You're just getting that payment, and you're like, it's completely hands off outside of, there could be something crazy with the building, like, God forbid, like some terrible thing happen, like a tornado or something, then you're going to have to help them figure something out. But the reality is that you don't have any responsibility towards anything on the premises.
No expenses. We used to define it as it's a net income. The rental income is net to the owner. So because the tenant pays the expenses.
Well, and you both said it better than I did. I actually got in a fight with a Texas broker on the phone because he said single net is absolute net. And I said, well, wait, is it triple net? And we went back and forth. So I like this coupon statement. I like the passive income statement. Dan, can you one up all of us?
And for us, like for Inland, we have this massive property management company. And I think the advantage of Inland is that when we own something, we're managing it ourselves. And that's where we get property taxes reduced. So that's where you can really help your investors by getting a better deal for them and getting more money for them by being able to manage it, have that experience where you really can make a big difference in who you buy with is everything. Who you invest with is everything. And so that's I think that's what the future is. I think, I don't know, but it's easy. It's not always easy to do all that. It's easy just to get a triple net, but it's different now where people were thinking that everything is so simple, and it's not. They're closing Starbucks, and who would have thought of that? Things change, and you got to be up and be aware. And in Chicago, like I said, Walgreens was no one thought there would be any issue with them, and now we're having big issues with them. So,
well, and not for nothing. So things changing all the time. What about opportunity zones? And you spoke about strategic.
Yeah. So opportunity. So the big beautiful bill. I was on the real estate roundtable opportunity zone meeting today. One of the things that happened with the big beautiful bill is that we love the fact that they continued opportunity zones, but they don't. The new opportunity zone legislation doesn't kick in until 2027. So between now and 2027, people are saying, "Wait a second, I have an opportunity zone already being built, and they're going to change the new opportunity zones. Are they going to grandfather these things in?" So our coalition is looking to work with Treasury on regulations that will allow current opportunity zones to be grandfathered in, which is a big thing. And so we're working together with the industry, coming together under the auspices of the Real Estate Roundtable. But I do also want to highlight again, bringing people together. There's a couple things just real quickly, if I could. With the National Association of Realtors, I'm always a big fan talking about this. The three-way agreement is sometimes people attack that agreement, but I am a big fan of local, state, and national membership, because just about an hour ago, when I was at this Main Street Association of Realtor event, their government affairs director told me that a local town just right outside Chicago, it's in Cook County still, but right outside Chicago, they're going to require all owners of buildings to go through fair housing training, yeah, which is fine. Of course, people should do that. But the politicians want to go one step further and show everybody the next step is any owner that hires a contractor to come to work in their building is going to have to go through this training. So if you have to get some toilets plunged with the plumber fixing the toilets, they have to go through fair housing training. You want to get it's like what? What are you? I mean, have you heard of this, Becca?
I had a talk with him Tuesday night. I was at a NICAR Past Presidents event, and we had and our dad was there, and we had this long conversation about it too. It was mind-boggling because politicians don't always think of the implications. That when you say anybody who works in a building has to have fair housing training, that means literally anyone who works in a building. So the maid or right, like a tenant brings in a cleaning service. Does that mean that so how it's written, unfortunately, specifies that the cleaning service, everyone at the cleaning service. Well, what if somebody's subbing in who's typically at a different building? And then, guess what? They have to have fair housing training too. Like, it's mind-boggling how
our dues, again, I love paying this dues. I love my investment in RPAC because the staff are able to, then try to, change that and work with these elected officials at the state level. Illinois Realtors, they're doing a great job pushing back on the CTA, Chicago Transit Authority, is trying to get bailed out. There's so many problems with public transportation, but at the last minute, the General Assembly, and it passed in the Senate, but it failed in the House. They want to really increase transfer tax rates to huge numbers to pay pay for the Chicago Transit Authority. And the Illinois Realtors were able to, they're stopped that, which has been wonderful, and they're working overtime to stop that. And thank God that impacts all of us. And then at the National Association of Realtors level, Shannon McGann is such a rock star. There's constantly things they're working on. Who would have thought of this? I just found out yesterday with the realtors let me know the 1031 like-kind exchange is under attack again. There's a group of progressive Democrats that they see the 1031 as a bad thing, and they put legislation in to kill it. Now, nothing's going to happen because Donald Trump's the president, and that'll in the House and Senate are Republican. But you just never know when all that time is going to change, and eventually it'll be Democrats in charge. So we're working together as a coalition to go to these very progressive Democrats and meet with them. And we've already tried to set up meetings to be able to let them know, again, the importance of the 1031, that it's probably one of the best things that's going to help underserved communities, and to go through all those details. And so at the local level, the state level, the national level, all these areas are just so important. And it's this organized real estate is what makes it so strong. And that's why I'm a member of RPAC. I'm getting close. I'm already in the Hall of Fame at 25,000. I'm getting close to the 50,000 level. But it's a big deal that we all participate and get engaged with trying to help out the realtors, because they are so many times the ones that are in the breach to fill the breach, to be able to be at that city council meeting. There's less newspaper reporters out and about, so people don't know what's going on. And so all these things are just super important. The other thing that's happening in real estate is the environment community have gone one step too far in regards to natural gas. In the Midwest, natural gas is a really big deal, and they're trying to ban gas stoves. They're trying to ban natural gas being anywhere, and that is another part of what realtors work on and what they're trying to do. And what's so interesting is that the other group that's helping are the Illinois Restaurant Association, because they will tell you that there's not a chef that wants to cook on an electric stove. Chefs want to cook on gas stoves, and it's you never in a million years would have thought that these issues would come up. But and they're people aren't evil. They're well-meaning people, but they sometimes people want to get into a contest with who could come up with a crazier idea. And some of these elected officials are looking for something to be able to promote, and they get this thing, and then all of a sudden they start running with it, and they're getting press and they like it. But we have to be kind of that bucket of cold water to throw on them and say, look, this is the reality for homeowners. If you were to turn off right now, the state of Illinois passed legislation in 2021 that says they're going to turn off all gas in Illinois in 2045. Nobody knows that. And there's nuances to that where the elected officials will say, it doesn't really say that, but ultimately it does. What that means, in my house in Wheaton, Illinois, I would have to pay at least $55,000, if not more, dollars on 2 new water heaters, 2 new furnaces, a gas dryer. I have a whole house electric generator. All that's going to be gone. And that's where you have to wake up these elected officials. So now we're working to try to get that changed. But it really is mind-boggling how you have people who they get into these elected positions and they are well-meaning, but it's important that we have our realtor leaders to be able to say, look, especially when you're in the Midwest, you have to have gas to be able to heat your places, and natural gas is a pretty clean energy.
Dan, you're too kind. They're well-meaning. No, they're ignorant. They're idiots. The things they want to do are impossible. They have political agendas. These people you said they're not evil. They're evil.
That goes back to standards and ethics.
When you look at the results that would take place, or the requirements that would be placed on people, and the hardship that it would bring, I can't explain it every other way. And I would like to be nice like you. They're well-meaning, but to me, that doesn't cut it anymore. Right? Things are ridiculous. And so you're right. It's good we've got somebody that's willing to stand up to these people, because otherwise it would really be a mess.
Well, and the affordableness of gas is so much cheaper than electric. I mean, it's just that it's doubling, if not tripling, the cost if you go move everything to electric. And we're having a problem where the data centers are coming online. And then in Illinois, I give it to Governor Pritzker. He really worked hard to get quantum computing where they had the old steel yards in the south side of Chicago. But when they do quantum computing, if you've ever researched quantum computing, oh my gosh, they use cryogenics. They get the computers so cold that it's like almost zero in order for this the quantum to be able to go back and forth between machines. And I don't even know if I can understand it more than what I just said, but the amount of energy that takes is ungodly. And if it's not going to be windmills and solar panels are going to keep that stuff going. And when we have negative 40-degree polar vortex in Chicago, we have to have natural gas.
No, natural gas for sure, and nuclear power.
Yeah, nuclear power. Yeah.
And I know people talk against it. That's just because they don't understand it. We have a nuclear power plant here in California, San Onofre, that they shut down because everybody was worried about it. But you don't hear anybody say anything because they're ignorant to the fact that we've got submarines, nuclear power. Everyone's got a reactor on it. Yeah. Aircraft carriers, every one of them's got reactors on it. They're sitting out in the middle of San Diego Bay. They've been out there forever. Nobody says a word, and I'm glad they don't. But when they look at this overall concept of nuclear power, they shut it down nationwide, and that was a major mistake. And so luckily, at least I see now, people are talking about mini reactors and bringing this back, and I think this is a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what I'm hearing here is there are very educated people in certain sectors and a lot of uninformed people in certain sectors. And as you bring together your investments and diversify, you want to have the educated people, the right people, understanding what you can't or don't, instead of being an uninformed investor or a fool, aka hire good brokers.
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, we're hurting capital.
Becca Carlson, she's the best broker in the whole world.
Yes. Hey, wait a minute. I'm a broker too.
Oh, Andreas, I'm sorry.
And wait, Saul's a broker too.
Oh my gosh, I just got in trouble.
Hire the right people and then listen to what I'm hearing. And David Allen, thank you. David Allen Malfit. Standards and ethics build stability in the housing market for landlords and tenants. Standards and ethics, hiring the right people, triple net assets, buying stable coupons, right? Returns. The investments are all there to find them. We've got the dip in rates. We've got the treasury. We've got government shutdowns. But I will say it again, commercial real estate. Fish have to swim. Investments are there. Things are happening. As long as you're out there looking to make deals. Look at Inland. Always buying. So that all being said, we've got CRE Tech coming up. It's at 6:38. We're blasting through the hour here. We've unpacked the reduction in rates. We've talked a little bit about the government shutdown. We've talked about some conferencing, some events. We've talked about RESO data standards in action. What is changing for the next 30 days over at Inland, over the institutions, triple nets all in? Dan, then over to Becca, and then we're going to shift over to Saul.
Well, I mean, with Inland, I mean, we're really blessed to be such a big company. We're so high on so many different areas with self-storage. I mean, that's just booming for us. I mean, you can imagine all the different empty stores in different towns that no one wants, and we're able to get them and repurpose them, and people are loving that. I mean, so the repurposing of old box stores is a big deal for us, and it's going great. The 1031 like-kind exchange, Delaware Statutory Trust is still, we're very excited about our products. I can't talk about them because the Securities Exchange Commission, but things are going terrific with our Delaware Statutory Trust products. The student housing, like I just said, we bought a wonderful portfolio of student housing. We continue that. We have the medical office, the assisted living facilities. It's just growing. Our portfolio of apartments is growing. So Inland, very bullish on what we're doing. A lot of great things with our new leadership of Tony Chorizo and his team. So very happy with all the aspects, and with working with our national association. I just can't explain it enough or highlight enough that Inland, as this big commercial real estate company, we love our relationship with NAR, and there's nothing more powerful than the NAR. And I want to make sure that everybody out there knows that it's a great investment. Your membership matters. And while some people might want to go off and do their own kind of thing, you can never do it as well as the National Association when you have every member of Congress as a realtor attached to them. And when you're dealing like with all of these weird little bills and ideas that you never would think could happen, we and you need to be invested with RPAC and with the realtors, because they're the ones that are fighting for us. And as a big, large real estate company, we really treasure that relationship. Shannon McGann and her team could not be any better, and we appreciate them more than anybody knows.
Well, and so again, back to smart people and smart places. Inland is a vertically integrated company. You cover the whole life cycle for a real estate asset. You buy it, you build it, all of it, right? And that's through smart people in your respective company coming together and then expanding outward to other.
We have 1,400 people in our company. Yeah. So and we're all around the country. And so we're real blessed by that. And the Midwest values hard work, all that kind of thing is.
So does the Northeast. That's not
Do you guys do hard work in Connecticut?
We do hard work in California. That's on the beach all the time.
He's in his car wash all the time.
We work hard at the car wash.
Sorry, I couldn't help it. I just didn't want to let that one slide by. But the reduced construction costs, smart moves, strategic moves. Saul talks about this a lot. Knowing what regulations, what's being impacted, because we're not in a bubble. None of us are. Each of our businesses is impacted by the other, and then all of it's impacted by regulation and global economics and so on. So Inland is still buying and growing.
Yes.
Shifting, the MLS is still building, shifting over to Becca, and that was a quick one because we're still at 6:42. So we get a little more long-winded.
Okay, so there are a couple of things I want to talk about. First and foremost, I'm very excited, Dan, about the adaptive reuse pieces that you guys are implementing in reframing really kind of those troubled retail assets. And I think that's one of the best things about commercial real estate is that we evolve and change with the cycle, and that because everything does run, right, the land is under everything, we get to modify and change and continually build our communities and continually improve them. Absolutely my favorite thing about commercial real estate. It's just such a beautiful industry to be a part of. And I have heard a lot about affordable use lately. I've heard a lot about adaptive reuse. I love the conversation around opportunity zones. I find there is an attraction for new market entrants. So kind of those younger folks coming in this concept of placemaking, this concept of building community. There's a lot of passion around that. And then I also am talking to tenured professionals who've been doing amazing work for decades, who recognize the broader impact of what they're doing. And that's really what fuels their passion. So often in my conversations with newcomers, I'm introducing them to these tenured professionals who have those similar values so that we can get some new energy around what we're trying to do from that placemaking standpoint, from the standpoint of bettering environmental tax credits, of having better LEED buildings, of ensuring that the environmental impact, the housing impact, all of these things come together. And there's just such a really kind of neat push from established and new folks around the building a better world around us and using real estate as the vehicle to do that. So I find it to be incredibly exciting.
I like that, Becca. That's great.
Right?
Yeah, I agree.
So cool. And I'm very excited about transactional real estate right now. And part of that is, even when we were in the capital markets panel at C5, I was listening to Christian Williams, who was a fantastic broker at CBRE, talking about how he's constantly trying to remind people that the Midwest is a great place to invest. And because you still have the same credit in those national tenants that you have on the coasts, but at a better rate. You're just making more money. They're the same credit in the tenants. And I feel now like I'm on the ICSC state committee and very much championing the ICSC at Midwest conference that's this coming Thursday.
It's a great organization. Great organization.
more people. Like we love people here in the Midwest. We really want people to be involved in real estate, and we welcome them with open arms. And I'm excited because we've got 18 tenants that for the retailer runway who are all expanding here and are going to talk about what they're doing in this marketplace. And I have so many clients who are going to be there, so many colleagues walking the show floor, which is always fun, and then social things thereafter. Leave it to say that the Midwest is a great place, and we want to get more people excited and more people involved in it. And it's just a phenomenal area to invest. So my last note though from this capital markets panel that I thought was really interesting, and I don't know if you guys have ever thought about this way, but there was a leader from BMO Bank, and she was talking about how she tracks M&A activity. And in her tracking of M&A activity, that reflects on some of their, kind of some of their regulations or what they're willing to do in the real estate industry. So the correlation in those two different transactional worlds, she's watching both of them to see what trends are happening in either space. And I do have a bunch of clients in M&A, so it's fun for me because with any business, there's proliferation and there's consolidation, and we see that that's the Starbucks model, right? Like that's what's going on right there. And we used to have it with banks on all the corners, and it's really neat to watch how business changes and grows that way. But then when you think about it from M&A, what businesses are being absorbed by private equity? How is that impacting the footprint of certain business sectors all across America? So I don't know about you guys, but I'm excited about all the things that we get to track and all of the academic knowledge and knowledge in economics that we can then pull into commercial real estate to continually make our world better with all the adaptive reuse and all the placemaking. It all comes together. I don't know. I think we're in the most exciting industry in the entire world.
Agreed.
It's why we're here. So the actionable insights, activity tracking, portfolios, data. Oh, geez, sounds a lot like the MLS, but on the commercial scale and not yet in a platform. So what was that placed in? Can I lob it to you?
Yeah, I want to ask you, you guys were at Main Street. Did Main Street used to be called the Realtor Association of West South Suburban Chicagoland?
Yes. They merged all these things into one. Yeah.
I used to take pictures of all the associations I would go speak at. So when you said Main Street, I pulled it up. So I'm looking at a picture of it from about 20 years ago. Yep. Yeah, they brought them all. They merged them all together. There was M&A, Becca, associations, right?
Yep. So I'm the past president of the Chicago Realtors, and I've never sold real estate. I just, I have my real estate license, but because of our advocacy from Inland, they made me the chairman, and so I got to be Realtor of the Year. But that's Chicago, and Inland done so much in Chicago. But one time we were the largest landlord of Chicago, and then we have the suburbs. It's down Main Street, and John Gormley is the CEO, and he is incredible. Michelle Mills Clement is the CEO of Chicago, and we are blessed to have some incredible CEOs of our real estate associations. Jeff Lasky is working with NIC, the Northern Illinois Commercial Association of Realtors, which is a great organization. He's a good guy. Jeff. Yeah, he's a good guy.
It is a great organization as a past president.
Yes.
It's phenomenal organization.
Yeah. So talking about M&A, this last week it was announced that Compass is purchasing Anywhere. So now you have the company that probably was the largest by volume that is purchasing for $1.6 billion and taking over the debts. Probably one of the largest by agent. Anywhere is the company that owns Coldwell Banker and Century 21 and Corcoran and owns all these brands. So that's a major issue in the real estate, in the residential real estate space. And then along with that, we haven't mentioned litigation, but there's just a ton of litigation going on. I had to write it down to remember it. It's Compass is suing Northwest MLS over their rules about office exclusives, and Compass is suing Zillow. Of course, Zillow's got to have an answer to that. And the FTC announced just the other day that they're suing Zillow and Redfin based on a deal that they did around rentals. And Homes is suing Zillow because Homes owns some of the photography and Zillow, it's used in Zillow's site. And so there's just a lot of things going on that have the possibility of completely reshaping residential real estate. But I think what we'll find is even with the reshaping, the value that the MLS brings, in my case in San Diego, somebody can be a member, can be a subscriber, participant, pay us $179 a quarter. That's for 3 months, get access to a tool that they use every single day in their business. And so we police the data, we monitor the data, we make sure it's accurate. We're the single source of truth. We really power those portals like Zillow and Trulia and Realtor.com. Where do these entities get their data? They get it from MLS. And so MLS, regardless of how this all shakes out, it's still going to have its place. It's just a question of where. So as we look at what that place is, and as we look at, MLS is a subscription business, and we have heard for years, and we continue to hear that there are going to be fewer people with real estate licenses. There are going to be fewer realtors. We have to budget for fewer realtors. Now, if you're a subscription business, you have to take that to heart because you earn your living based on the number of people who subscribe. So that's one of the reasons that we're monetizing data in new and unique ways, that we're making data available to developers for modeling their new software around. It's just so a lot of opportunity for multiple listing services. And still, bottom line, if you can afford to buy a place to live, buy a place to live. That's the place to start.
And with the increase in scrutiny and all those mergers going on at the top brands residentially, sounds like commercial real estate is a safe, simple investment. Just saying. Continuing on that path, the merger was incredible, and not for nothing, those tuning in who say, well, why do I care about residential real estate? Remember how at the start of this roundtable I said, well, commercial lagged behind residential. Our technology adoption is following the same trend residential. The industry growth, the woes, and the good and the bad. Whether you like it or not, there are a lot of similarities.
Well, I don't know if Dan's got the figure, but if you look at the GDP or what percentage of the GDP is centered around real estate, it's giant. It's right.
Well, and I want to mention too, like another area, like a growth area I didn't talk about for inland. In the past, we have like 10,000 acres of farms, and we entitle that land. We get the sewer and water and everything there, and so the home builders are coming back to us saying, "Hey, inland, we'd love for you to do that all over again because, like in Illinois, we have a big shortage of houses, and people are really clamoring, let's get some houses built." And so we have a lot of people knocking on our doors right now about housing, and a big commercial real estate company, we're right there with you to promote building, the home builders to build homes, and we'll entitle that land. The other organization that I'll give a plug to, the Realtors Land Institute, Aubrey Cabernis is their CEO. She's a rock star. That place is going gangbusters. They're growing their members like left and right. But land, being a broker of land is, and they have a whole designation just like CCIM does. But that's another area if you want to increase your productivity and grow your business. Land is a great thing to do.
Urban Land Institute, right? Realtor Land Institute, Urban Land Institute, both great associations you should look into. As far as that figure, GDP across residential and commercial real estate combined is 1.6 to 1.8 of the global of our GDP. That's an immense number when you think about it. Yeah, residential is bigger.
Keeps everything going.
Well, and that goes back to the 1031 and so on. It has to keep moving, but it is a vital portion of the U.S. economy, of the global economy, and to the subscription model. Less brokers is not a bad thing. You just got to charge the right brokers that make more money, and they continue on. Right? And you pay for quality. You don't discount shop. You're a heart surgeon. You shouldn't discount shop a brain surgeon. And for those that don't know or haven't heard me say it, commercial real estate is the brain surgery. Residential real estate is the heart surgery. Outside of your health, it's the most important thing you do.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Say that one more time. Residential is heart surgery.
Residential realtors are the heart surgeons. Commercial realtors are the brain surgeons.
I like that. Yeah.
Never the two shall cross. At least that's what I hope. Yeah, thank you for that. All right, we've got 5 minutes left. What can I say to the audience instead of thank you for all they do? Show up at CRE Tech, October 21st. Last year was the 19th. It is the largest gathering of commercial real estate tech, innovation, finance, and institutional capital coming together to see the leading edge, to talk about what we're using and how we're doing better than our peers. What do I mean by that? Well, case in point, AI answers my phone, it writes my emails, but never to my friends, colleagues, or clients, I swear. And it takes my notes. And in some companies, Inland included, it helps them manage and move around their portfolios at lightning speed with actionable insights. The MLS, it's out there improving the way you work, shortening time, right? Shortening the load on people, marketing. It's here to stay. It's not here to replace us, Saul. I will always argue that until I'm out of business. But it is here to stay.
5 years.
But
5 years.
AI could work in a car wash too. I'm just saying.
You actually need water still, which we're short of in Southern California. But
we got the Great Lakes. We're good.
Oh, I was in Toronto. I look out over Lake Ontario. Was it Lake Ontario? It was like amazing. Big giant lake.
All fresh water.
All that fresh water.
Yep.
Best market in the world is Connecticut. I've got an ocean right here in New York City. So that's all I'm saying. Chicago aside. All right. I want to again give thanks to our audience. 5,442.
5,600.
5,500.
5,600
is a mix.
Yeah.
Tune-ins and downloads monthly. Global show. 100th episode this December. Thank you to my co-hosts for being the amazing professionals they are out in the world, for coming in and tuning with us and giving their, you heard it first here. In many cases.
You need to get some champagne for that. We all have to have our.
I'm going to have hats, champagne. It's going to be a big event.
Yes.
I'm excited for it, as is our audience. Thank you to all of our guests who tuned in and gave comments. Sorry to those comments I couldn't repeat here because, well, you had a lot of them and they were great. So I pick and chose. Come back next month. We'll do it again. Thank you again to all of you as we work to close out. We'll see you in November.
And thank you for Andreas's grandma.
And thank you, Sue. Thanks. Have a good one. Thank you guys as always.
Thanks for tuning in to the Real Estate Roundtable, powered by CRECo.ai, your source for the latest in real estate and technology. For past episodes, sector interviews, and more great content, follow us on all social media and YouTube at CRE Collaborative. You can also find us anywhere you listen to podcasts. Please like, subscribe, and share. It really does help. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you at the next Real Estate Roundtable.